Welcome to another KSR Happy Hour presented by Country Boy Brewing. My dog Remy is very excited about it. I hope you can hear him in the background.
That new intro just got him all jazzed up.
I know. It gets me jazzed up too. And I am especially jazzed because we have some fun topics to talk about today, including a fight. Pat Kelsey, Mark Pope, the fight of the century. It allegedly took place outside of Tay Kenny's apartment in Atlanta, and it's all everybody is talking about today. So we're bringing in Jacob Polachek, who has the scoop, who broke the scoop on KSR Plus and KS Board. Jacob, tell us what really happened.
Yeah, so from what I was told, this happened a couple weeks ago when that midnight visit that was highly publicized was going on with Mark Pope and Pat Kelsey both showing up at Tay Kenny's, I believe it was his apartment in Atlanta, close to OTE. And per my sources, Pope was set to meet with Kenny at midnight that first night that coaches could meet with players. And Kelsey was supposed to meet with him shortly afterwards. And I was told that Pope was running late to the meeting and Kelsey was already there. So Kelsey decided to go in, start his meeting with Tay Kenny. And I was told Pope was upset. There were some words exchanged. I was told it's an exaggeration to say they nearly came to blows, but there was definitely some animosity between the two.
Yeah, I can't picture Pat Kelsey and Mark Pope actually fighting. But nonetheless, even if they were just, tense words exchanged, it's a really fun story. And I have this coming in a post for KSR a little bit later, but it's kind of exactly what this rivalry needs. Steven, you tweeted out that old screen cap of the story about the fight at the dialysis clinic back in 2012. The two 70-year-old men fighting about Kentucky and Louisville in the Final Four. It's taken 13 years, but maybe we're getting back there. So I'm personally very excited about it. Roush, I'll pivot to you as someone who lives in Louisville and rivalries with the rivalryist, if that even makes sense. What were your impressions when you first heard this rumor?
Yeah, I was initially a little skeptical that the two would come to blows. So Jacob's story checks out for me. But I am sick and tired of how nice they play with one each other. Come on. You can say you don't like the other person. You can do the rivalry things that oh, he's a great guy. Great. No, let's intensify this some because I was actually having this conversation with Steven earlier. He's like, what's it going to take me to hate Pat Kelsey? Right now, it's just lose to them. But I would like some other rivaling stuff, even if it does have to happen in a trivial little dispute over a recruit that neither coach is going to get.
Well, that's one of the funniest parts is that neither Kentucky nor Louisville are the perceived front runner for Kenny right now, who announces his decision on September 28th. So the fact that they're fighting over him and he's probably not going to come to either of their programs is actually just the icing on top here. Zach, we haven't gotten your initial impressions. What did you think when you saw that tweet? Well, first it was a tweet by Big Blue Bud that was going around saying that the two coaches nearly exchanged blows. What was your reaction when you saw that?
I guess the way it was worded, my eyes were rolled all the way back inside of my head looking behind me entirely because I couldn't. The way it was tweeted out, it made it seem like that they had a WWE brawl in the front yard and were, they were about to just start rolling around in the grass together, which would be a quick fight, you'd have to think, between Mark Pope and Pat Kelsey. People have been correctly pointing out on KS Board that Mark Pope lasted 7 years in the NBA for a reason during the 90s. That guy, he knows how to jostle around with some dudes that are very large. So I don't think that he would have to deal with Pat Kelsey for too long there.
I just imagine the old cartoon kind of 90s depiction where Mark Pope holds his forehead and
Pat Kelsey's going like this,
swinging around, trying to hit him, but he can't reach him.
Yeah. So that was kind of my initial reaction. Then Jacob's version of it makes a little bit more sense. But as I said to you all before we got on here, if I'm Pat Kelsey and the recruiting period opens at midnight and the guy that is supposed to be there ahead of me is 15 minutes late, I'm sorry. But this is college basketball recruiting right now. You're giving these kids $1 million. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to talk to Tate Kinney before Mark Pope gets there. I'm sorry, Coach. I love you to death, but you got to get there on time. You know, I don't care what you were doing beforehand. Like it's all fair from that point on. But I could understand why Pope would still be upset about it, and I like that he's got that fire. And we're learning more and more that Mark Pope may not be the he's obviously the very genuine and nice guy, but he can get. It sounds like he can have some choice words for folks when he needs to, and I think that's really what the Kentucky fans are really happy to see. But I think Nick's point is the great part about all of this is this is coming out 2 weeks after the fact and 2 days after the fact that Kansas has been trending as the favorite to land him. So it is kind of funny that neither of those schools are going to get him anyways in the end.
It's also something that would have mattered who gets to see who first at midnight. Whenever you weren't paying them millions of dollars to play for you, like what does it matter? Like I can just imagine both of them are kind of pissed off that they're there at midnight in Atlanta doing this stupid visit. Like,
well, and how much do these rules, like, there are no set rules like, well, my meeting's scheduled for midnight and yours is scheduled for 12:15. Like, who's actually enforcing these rules? I'm kind of on Zach's side here. It's like, if I'm Pat Kelsey, I'm sitting in the car, it's 12:08, Pope hasn't showed up yet. Who cares if you just go ahead? Like, this is like all a ceremonial thing, right? Who visits Tate Kinney first moment that they possibly can in this recruiting period. So having the curtain kind of peeled back on this is also kind of hilarious to me.
The optics of Pat Kelsey just sitting in his car for 6 minutes, listening to 11 personnel or something in his car, waiting, like being like, Mark Pope's not here. Like, do you text Mark and say, hey man, like, come on, I'm about to go in, or does Pope show up and all of a sudden Pat Kelsey's there, cheersing with Tate Kinney and he can see it through the window type thing. Is that kind of how the scenario plays out? So that whole hour, I would just love to be like a fly on the tree outside of Tate Kinney's house at that point. Oh, and first of all, can I show off my
absolutely
my fancy koozie here?
That is fancy.
Filled with our own Country Boy Light.
Nice. I am drinking, if I can get it in the camera shot, a Halfway Home, their American Pale Ale. I finally restocked when I was up at the lake last weekend. It's delicious. It's probably not nutritious, but when we're talking about a fight in the middle of September between Kentucky's coach and Louisville's coach, you got to have a Country Boy. So I did want to mention, we were talking about this a little bit before we started. It's kind of really funny that on Tuesday, so 2 weeks after this alleged incident went down, both, Pope and Kelsey went on the Field of 68 this week and talked about each other and talked about how much they like each other. But Pope also said, I think Jeff Goodman, one of our new colleagues at On3, shout out to Field of 68 and Jeff Goodman. He told Pope, he was like, we just need some more animosity between you and Pat Kelsey. And, Pope kind of played along, was like, you don't understand the level of hatred we have for each other. I mean, this Pat Kelsey, have you been in his room? He has pictures of me all over and just throwing darts at him. So it's kind of funny to read that now, knowing what, supposedly took place in Atlanta 2 weeks ago. But Jacob, this is just like a great behind the scenes look at recruiting and these visits. Like, have you heard any other stories like this of, well, the coach was supposed to meet, with Tate Kinney at 12, one was supposed to meet at 12:15. Like, how does the sausage get made, so to speak, here?
Yeah, I really haven't heard that a lot just because of what Nick talked about, where like these meetings, these visits aren't really of that much importance anymore. You meet a kid at midnight. I think it's really the sentiment that counts. If the kid knows you're sitting outside ready for your meeting, like I don't think it matters if you meet with him at 12:15, 12:30, whatever. I will say, you mentioned Jeff Goodman. I want to give some credit to him because he put out some additional info on this confrontation. And I think that the part that I don't want to give away the whole thing because it's behind that paywall over on the Field of 68, but he did say it's not exactly the level of disdain between Cal and Rick Pitino during those days, but it is something to elevate the rivalry. So I think the fans are kind of excited to see this rivalry have some fun moments like this.
There would have been real punches thrown if Cal showed up 15 minutes late
God,
to get a kid, and Pitino was already there. Sorry, Nick, go ahead.
No, I mean, Pat Kelsey did the point guard you thing to try to like agitate. He's going to make some sly comment about this at some point. Like there's no doubt in my mind. Yeah. No doubt in my mind. I'm glad that he is the sort of I don't even know the right word for it. The sort of like, look at me, like he's kind of the real try hard. It's getting a little annoying.
The annoying little brother.
Yeah, like he's starting to look that part, and I think the angst against him is going to grow, especially if those guards come out and play well, which is less than 2 months away. From that game.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah. November 11th, the third game of the season. I'm still getting over the fact that the basketball game takes place before the football game this year. It's just really, really weird to me. Well, we got a ton of comments in the chat. We have a fake purple dinosaur in the chat today. Shout out to fake Barney, who said, what if you were this kid's parents and you looked out in the yard and the coaches were rolling around wrestling? So we'll leave it to the dad of the crew. Nick, what would you do if you looked out and the coaches recruiting Duke were duking it out in the front yard?
I would say my kid's going to the winner. All right, let's crack over to Country Boy. We're raising the stakes. All right, winner take all. Let's go.
We also got one from Adam E. I would too. Adam E says, didn't Pope say he started out being just like Rick, but then got a group of psychologists, did some survey and changed his way of thinking? I mean, yeah, he's had his like team of psychologists who have followed him around for the past year, and maybe they lit a fire under him. I can't wait to see what happens in this game on November 11th, because I was looking back, and since that fight at the dialysis clinic in 2012, Kentucky has won 11 games in this series, and Louisville has only won 3. So it's been a little one-sided, but this year's game could. We hope not, but it could change that because both Louisville and Kentucky are stacked. I mean, Zach, what are your immediate thoughts on that game?
I can't wait for it. Truly can't. Everyone's on Twitter talking about how it's going to be the best game of the season, at least non-conference, and this is just the type of stuff you need to fuel it up. So I'm jazzed over it. I'm jazzed up over it. I'm ready for it.
Nick, you look nervous.
No, it's not a nervousness. It's just it's very much do you get an up and down shooting contest with them? Because they have a lot of good shooters. How much will their 0 front court players help them? Is the German Hulk going to be their savior? Like, can he actually bang inside with Diabate? And I'm not banging on Quaitons playing in that game. Do we get good BG or do we get bad BG in that game?
Somebody's going to be ready to fight. It's BG.
I think it's going to be one that is tightly contested and right down to the wire. But I was more so thinking of like, these are probably the 2 coaches I would least expect it from. I think the ones I would most expect it from would actually put up some of the best fights, and that would be Nate Oates and Bruce Pearl. Like, I want to see those guys wrestling around on the ground.
What about Danny Hurley? Danny Hurley would go crazy in a fight. I don't know like how powerful he would be.
I don't think Danny Hurley can fight.
He would go on Mike Tyson and bite somebody's ear off.
Yeah. It'd be more non-legal tactics is what he'd go for. He'd go for the kick in the groin type guy.
But
he would. Yeah.
Nate Oates coached at a high school, or I'm sure he broke up some fights in the hallways.
He was a math teacher, I think, right?
Yeah. Back in the day, and then Bruce Pearl has like, that look of dads in their 50s or so. They get divorced and they get on testosterone and get all jacked up and start like walking around in tight shirts. Like Bruce Pearl, he's one of those. So like, is there anything underneath all that muscle, or is there? Yeah, it'd be fun. It'd be fun to see those 2 go at it.
So
we've oddly seen Bruce Pearl without a shirt more than we'd probably like to, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. More than we definitely would like to. So which coaches would Mark Pope lose to in a fight? Who would win between Mark Pope and Rick Pitino? Now, Rick Pitino's old, but Pitino's like scary. Like, I hear, Pope. The horror stories about him. Like, but would Pope be like scared to hit his former coach?
Pitino would just verbally accost you into the closet. Like he's also like the ultimate starts the fight and then like gets behind a wall of like 5 others.
Yeah.
Because every friend group has one of those guys with a big mouth that just gets you into trouble. I'm trying to think of some other
Penny Hardaway is like a semi-recent guy who was playing. Like he's tall. I think Penny Hardaway's like 6'6". So I'm trying to think of guys that are like as tall as Pope that could potentially that are still young that could stack up. And that I think Penny Hardaway might be a choice.
Yeah, that's a good call. And Memphis,
Penny was the first person that came to mind for me.
Yeah.
That one was,
Penny's a good call. What about
Chris Beard? Chris Beard is scary, and
he's
just
intense.
I had a joke there, but I'm not going to say
we all stopped ourselves from making that same joke. I'm proud of us. I'm really proud of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who would win between Rick Pitino and John Calipari? I gotta say Rick. I feel like
Cal's
that'd be sad. I feel like that'd be a sad one.
That would be a sad fight to watch.
But just go back to the prime though. Like let's say it's 99 and this is Cal and Rick.
And prime maybe Cal, like Swaggy Cal. Before Swaggy Cal got cliche.
People forget that what's his name tried to kill him. I'll kill you.
Yeah. Rest in
Cheney.
peace.
Yeah. That's a dude. Oh my gosh, he's scary.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
I would not want to fight him.
But the ultimate answer to just fighting coaches, Bob Knight, because he probably did fight most of them.
He did, I'm sure.
That's fair. That's fair. A lot of people weighing in on the chat. Eric Taylor from Friday Night Lights. I would put my money on him to win a fight. Adam E says, "Thank you all for taking the time to come on here. My current work schedule finally allows me to listen live. By the way, Nick, perfect example of the old guys on tests getting swole, Jeff Bezos. That's got to be a reference to,
it's nice to have $1 billion too.
Well, like Dana White's similar too. He got a bunch of money and got jacked, Like, it's kind of the thing, which like...
got nothing else to do.
Right. And science says that muscle mass is actually better for you than cardio health. So, maybe there's something to it, some longevity they're trying to do, or they just want to look jacked because they got money.
Or that too.
That's probably it.
Insecurities show.
Tracy Bowen wants to know when Purdue exhibition game tickets go on sale. I have no idea, Tracy, but that's a very good question. Matt Foster said Mark Pope stuffed Pat into his car and sent him on his way. So it sounds like the two sides have hugged it out or whatever, and it wasn't even that big of a deal. But it's such a funny thing to just picture in your mind. So I'm here for it.
And you can attest to this too, Jacob. I mean, all is fair in love and recruiting. And especially in this profession, the amount of backstabbings and job changes and whatever, like, I feel like you build up a callus and they all get over stuff like this pretty quickly.
Yeah, I don't think this will leave a lasting impression, but I think that things compound and we'll see how this rivalry goes from there. If there's more altercations, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, who's the next player that they'll fight over? Who's up next?
The next player they'll fight over, maybe Tyron Stokes. We'll have to see. I did put up a thread on the KS board just now. Once we got talking about which two college basketball coaches would make for the most compelling fight. So I'll let people over on the KS board make their takes there.
Yeah, and if you haven't joined KS board, now's the time. Promo code UK1 for 2 months for $1, right? Is that we're still running that one?
Oh yeah.
So it's just a really fun story today that we didn't expect. I had a whole show planned that was centered around like the bye week and the Toy Hall of Fame and Shot Clock and Sidney McLaughlin. We're gonna get to all that, but we had to start with that. And we're going to say goodbye to Jacob because it's his birthday. Happy birthday, Jacob. We would sing to you, but I don't really know if you want that. So.
I'll pass. Maybe another time. Thank you guys for having me on.
Thank you for giving us the scoop and go do something really fun on your birthday.
I will. Bye.
Bye. So yeah, quite a story we did not see coming. When I woke up this morning, I didn't anticipate that, but it was a fun way to get the show rolling. And I mean, it's kind of appropriate. It segues into the next topic. Kentucky actually plays Louisville tonight in volleyball. Number 7 Cats versus number 3 Cards in Louisville. It's on ESPNU, right, at 6:00.
Yep.
And Nick, I believe you have a family member going to this game, this match. Who are they cheering for?
Oh yeah, she's got her U of L gear on. It's also their alumni night. They want to fill up those seats at the Yum Center. I don't think they'll get 17,000 like Creighton, Nebraska got last week, but I'm sure there'll be 10 or so fill up the lower bowl of the Yum. But I'm just curious what UK team shows up because that Pitt result surprised me. I know Pitt's good, but like it's like, all right, you beat the crap out of Penn State, you take 2 off of Nebraska, and then they kind of punch back. So I'm just fascinated to see which UK team shows up. Ultimately, I'm not the most confident because U of L's defense is good. It really is a defense versus offense sort of game because Kentucky's offense is incredible. But I just worry being on the road, big crowd, that Cards might have a leg up here.
Yeah, I haven't followed them as closely as I know our intern Penelope has. And Zach, I know you were there yesterday at Craig Skinner's press conference. But, I mean, this is what number of top 10 games are we up to now? I'm going through their schedule.
I think it's 6.
Jeez. I mean, just
this is 5 for
schedule.
top 10.
5 top 10 in
non-conference.
In 7 games, I think, or
That's
8.
Wild.
In 8 games.
5 and 8, yeah.
And then they'll play Washington this weekend, which is unranked, and then they go straight into SEC play, where Texas is number 2, and you've got 4 other ranked teams as well. 5 even.
That's crazy. So, yeah, what did Skinner say yesterday in that press conference previewing this?
I mean, it's like going to a Coach Mark Stoops press conference. They're just kind of talking,
humming
to talk through it. Yeah, like they were like, Coach, start with your opening statement. He's like, whew. Didn't have an opening statement. So that's, he's not really focused on that right now. But it was cool to hear, like, from Lizzie Carr, someone who, obviously Andrew Carr's brother, transferred over from Purdue. This will be her first kind of experience of the Kentucky-Louisville rivalry. She got a little bit of a taste of it with her brother, watching them playing the basketball. Sorry, my dog's coming over here. You had your moment last week. You're fine over there. Yeah, to Nick's point, it's going to be interesting to see who shows up because you have, they beat a top 10 SMU team 3-1 over the weekend. They've had these weird kind of back and forth results, but they should be more battle tested than Louisville. Like UK is 2-2 now in their ranked games, and Louisville is 1-1. They lost to Texas, who Kentucky will play, and they beat like a pretty solid Creighton team. So Kentucky will have the upper hand in terms of the amount of or the caliber of opponents they played over and over again. And they were in that Nashville game in Nebraska where it was 20,000 Nebraska fans and 6 Kentucky fans. So the Louisville aspect of it will probably get in their heads a little bit, but I think they've had the experience at least to kind of expect that. And Kentucky hasn't won this game since 2019, so they kind of have some. They need to get back in the flow of things. I think they'd won like the previous 7 or 8, something like that. And then Louisville has a new head coach who was the assistant forever there, so they didn't really lose like any drop off when they changed regimes as well there. If DeLay and Hudson are just smacking the ball 150 miles an hour, I think that's probably going to be their key to success, is just try and power the ball down their throats the entire game and win it through that way. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know if they have betting lines or anything on it for volleyball, but I would be interested to see like what people think or how this match will end up going.
I'll look it up on BetMGM. Yeah, you mentioned Lizzie Carr. So I saw Andrew Carr, her brother, was at the match in Nashville versus Nebraska. I think he's been to a couple other ones. So I wonder if he's going tonight. That'd be pretty cool. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, the big thing is in these games is just not giving up the huge big run. And like that's what happened to Louisville. They took Texas to 5 and then couldn't serve receive.
They gave up a big lead right in the 5th set.
Yeah, like they couldn't serve receive right out of the jump. And, if you're UK, you have all of these great strikers where it's like, oh, Hudson and DeLay can just kill a point right there. Well, you got to be able to get them the ball. So a lot of it comes down to making sure that the other team doesn't get a hot server at the wrong time to where you stop those runs. Because it feels like in these big close matches that's ultimately what it comes down to, is avoiding that late run that just guts you. So it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot of fun to watch. 6:00 tonight, ESPNU. I wanted to say one thing because you mentioned they have a new coach, Dan Meskey. Mm-hmm. This is a very dated reference.
Okay. I'm not going to know it.
No, nobody's going to know it. But Muskie was a presidential candidate in the 70s. And the only reason I know that is because I read Fear and Loathing on the presidential campaign, Hunter S. Thompson's deal. And when I say I read it, I listened to a little bit of the audiobook going back and forth between Lexington and Louisville. And the way that the person would say, Muskie, it just like, I just hear that every time I see this guy who does not look like a Muskie.
Are you going tonight? Are you bringing the kids?
No. I mom's night out, dad's
not in.
So
Dad needs a break.
Well, here's the thing too. I normally do the mornings and she does the nights because like a lot of times we're doing work stuff. I rarely get to put all 3 kids down at once. It's usually like I'll take the 2 boys or I'll take the girl. The 2 boys love to interrupt when you're putting baby girl down. So that's definitely not going to have a moment of frustration there.
Oh man. Well, Godspeed to you on that. That'll be something. Hopefully you can get it done by the time before the UK Louisville match is over.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Well, there's a lot other stuff happening. We'll just roll through it. Like I said, I had a whole show planned and then the fight happened. So we're going to start with the cheers segment, the fight, which is, I'm going to call it that. I know it was a verbal altercation or whatever they're trying to spin it as.
Oh, but it's the fight.
It's the fight. It's the fight. I've got a UK shirt that says fight. It's the fight. Yeah. I know. So we're going to cheers.
I'd rather watch them than Jake Paul. So
absolutely. We're going to do our cheers segment, which is just, praising people who've done really good things. We'll start with Jacob Polachek, who turned another year older today. He was on here just a minute ago. I won't say how old. I will protect his age, although there are lots of funny guesses on KS Board today. Cheers to our own Stephen Peak, who's about to get married. He gets married on Sunday. Hey, Stephen. Stephen, come on. And, if you want to tell us a few things about the wedding, are you excited? Are you nervous? How are we feeling 3 days out?
While he's coming in, I'll point out that I shot the video of him proposing to his girlfriend outside of Rep Arena. So I feel like I'm the reason for this.
You are part of this.
So
yeah.
You're welcome, Stephen.
That, if I recall correctly, that was before a loss, right?
Yeah, we don't have to mention the game that it was, but yeah.
We'll just ignore that.
It was a fun day. It was dampered a little bit there at the end.
Thanks, Cal.
Yeah. The one good thing that happened that day, right?
As Steven wants to say, Cal ruins his Saturdays.
Sure. So also another cheers to Sydney McLaughlin-Marone, who won gold at the World Championships today in the 400 meters. Not the 400 meters hurdles, which she usually runs, but the 400 meter flat. Absolutely incredible world championship. She won it in 47.78 seconds, which is the second.
Finally, or near the pinnacle where you think you can win it. And then the hurdler comes over and kicks your ass. That's got to suck.
Well, to that point is the girl that finished in second there, she still finished under 48 seconds, which I think so those 2 girls, I forget her name who finished in second, but they were the first 2 to run under 48 seconds in 40 years. Since the controversial, because I was like looking into it, and like I guess the German girl that set the record back in 85 or 75, I think it was 85, 40 years. Kind of some controversial, like maybe some steroid usage stuff going on with all that.
Yeah, they were drinking steroids.
So for all I'm concerned, like McLaughlin has the world record, and then the other girl that came in second, like you were just saying, Nick, like you dedicate your whole life to this. You were the first woman to get under 48 seconds in 40 years. But by the way, there's another girl who's just so happens to be a quarter second faster than you. So impressive stuff though. And if she runs on a track that doesn't have any rain and she doesn't let up at the end like it looked like she did there, I mean she can break a 47 second 400 meter there probably and just make a record that'll never get broken.
Yeah, well, you got to think it's a matter of time before the world record is hers, right?
It's coming down. She's only 26. I don't know how long sprinters go for, but I imagine she's got another Olympics in her and she can do this for a while.
Yeah, she'll do it in LA, if not before then. That's crazy that she's 26. For some reason, I thought she was older. I guess just because we've been hearing about her for so long. I mean, I think she was
a one and done at UK. So
at 2018. I think she was before then one of the youngest athletes at the Olympics. I guess it was like 2016 or something. Yeah, crazy stuff. If you want to see her biggest fan online, it's probably Myron Metcalf.
Yeah, he's been going to bat.
Oh, I love
too.
it. And he brought up the steroid accusations about the woman who held the world record, the German. I just got to read his tweet. He said, let's be clear here. Sydney McLaughlin-Rabone just ran the fastest time in the women's 400 meters as the first athlete to go under 48 seconds who didn't face serious valid accusations of steroid use. I don't care what anyone says. That's the fastest 400 meters a woman has ever run in the history of this planet. And then he goes on and on and on. Like, I love Myron's passion for this. It's great. So we'll have to get Myron.
I love that. Like, I think it was yesterday. He was kind of like poo-pooing Usain Bolt to make his point about Sydney McLaughlin. I was like, yeah, let's really go all in. If we're gonna let's tear down Usain Bolt a little bit and to build up our own. I like it.
Yeah, I'm for it. I just looked that one up. What she did is far more difficult than when Carl and Usain did. You're using blocks in the 400 because it's a sprint. 400 meter and 400 meter hurdles are literally the most difficult races. And he goes on and on. He's got a lot of thoughts about this.
Love it.
Yeah. Shout out to Sydney. Cheers to her. And then this could be a cheers or a jeers. I think I know where this panel leans. Remy obviously has feelings on it. Shot clocks are coming to high school hoops. Woo-hoo. And starting in 27-28, because it's going to take that long for schools to save up the money to buy them. So Kentucky was one of 20 states that didn't have a shot clock in high school hoops. Now they're implementing a 35-second shot clock. I'll let you two weigh in on this. I think you've got some passionate thoughts about it. Nick, tell us, are you pro or anti-shot clock in high school basketball?
I'm pro for all the obvious reasons. I just think the reason why you don't do something are very stupid. It costs too much money. If it's $3,000 to get 2 shot clocks, that's $1,500 you got to save up. It's $125 a month for the next couple of years. Most of these schools are the largest employers in their counties. Okay, like I don't need to hear about how they don't have any money when, like, it's not that hard to fundraise for $3,000 over 2. That's another line item for a lot of these places. Sure, at some of the smaller schools, I get it. There's going to be some special scenarios, but like this was going to happen eventually. So,
bingo.
Like you were going to have this cost come at some point. It's just happening now. The other one I think is really, really dumb is they're going to have to find somebody to run it. I mean,
that's the laziest take in my opinion.
Yeah. Have you seen how many people are volunteering at a high school football game? I mean, it is an army of people, and that's part of what you do. Like, I'm kind of excited to get back into the swing of volunteering at the schools because my kids are playing and all that. Like, that's just what people do. They already have a chain gang, ticket takers, people selling concessions, scoreboard, PA. Like,
there's 40 people working a game at any given time.
The other part too, the other critique I have is, man, there's going to be some bad shots taken late in the shot clock. Have you seen some of the bad shots that have been taken in some of these games already? Like, there are only a few teams that do we're going to run it down. We're going to run a set. And when that set doesn't work, we're going to run another one. No, usually it breaks down and the kid throws up a bad shot. Trinity, when Zabo was there in his prime, they were the only school that would run 3 plays and hold the ball for a minute and a half. What it's going to do, Zach, and you can speak to it, is just the end of games they're going to still play basketball, and that needs to happen, particularly during tournament time.
And I mean, it literally happens every single year in the Sweet 16 at Rupp Arena. At least one game, you've got, it's a close game for pretty much most of it. One team kind of takes a 8 or 9 point lead going to the fourth quarter, and then that team with the lead will just sit there and dribble the ball for the first half of the entire fourth quarter. And that's just kind of how the game plays out. Both the boys and the girls tournaments. Like, it happens every single year. I'm sure it happens more and more across the state in non-tournament settings and stuff like that. I've seen people suggest they should have a 45-second or a 60-second shot.
No.
If you can't get a shot off in 35 seconds, you're not getting a shot off in 45 seconds or 60 seconds. I think a lot of the pushback on the anti-shot clock is just making excuse for bad coaching. I think there's just too many bad coaches probably, and that's maybe not a fault of their own. There's just limited, accessibility for coaches. But if you can't get your offense to get a good shot or any shot off in 35 seconds, you're not going to win in the first place. Like the bad teams are still going to be bad type thing. I don't think it's really going to have too much of an. I've seen, like I don't think the shot clock has any impact on recruiting or things like that. So that's kind of like an argument for it. But the main point is the one that Nick brought up is this was going to happen eventually. 2021 is when the NFHS, which is National High School Federation, whatever. 2021, they said you can start using shot clocks. We now have 32 something schools or states in the country that use that. I think it's 32 from the Herald Leader report I was reading this morning. That's just within 4 years. And the KHSAA was very, they worded the vote. This is exactly how they worded the vote when they had 150 of the 252 schools vote against a shot clock. They worded it to, we favor to continuing to allow experimentation and date reporting until the NFHS adopts a national rule. That's going to come. That was going to come probably in the 2027-2028 season, whenever this is going to get implemented anyways. So you could either just do it right now and start saving up and prepare for it, or you could get hit over the head and have 2 months to prepare for it, before like 3 summers from now. So you just got to, there's no reason not to, there's some people who say it'll ruin high school basketball. Like there's just no evidence for any of that. So the bad teams will still be bad because of this. The good teams will still be good. It's just a necessary. I mean, we've been having shot clocks in basketball. It's been in the NBA for 70 years now. It's been in college sports for 50 years. Like, there's just no reasoning. Before. The only argument I ever bought was the price. And as we've just talked about now, like,
how are they so expensive? Like, why is that $3,000?
It is interesting how they are that expensive. But
for a digital clock that resets.
Yeah,
you could tape like an iPad up there. Like,
I think even the Courier Journal or maybe the Herald Leader, one of those two, it was either Jared Peck or Jason Frakes, mentioned that you can like do a bundle thing and get these discounted prices too. So a bunch of different schools can buy them all, and you can do it like that.
JCPS, I would imagine, or Fayette County, like the big school systems will probably like, hey, we're all buying this now, and we're going to get it at half off or whatever if we all go in together. You mentioned some like egregious examples. The most egregious example of dribbling it out that I've seen in postseason play was the year that Cal sucked and we were terrible and there was no postseason. So KSR covered all the regional tournaments. Mm-hmm. And I remember one of them. Yeah. I mean, this was to go to a regional final. It's a regional semifinal. One of the 4 best teams in your region. It goes to overtime. The team that got the tip just dribbled it for the entire overtime, took a shot. It went to double overtime.
Oh, my God.
Because they dribbled the whole time, and then they took the last shot and missed. So they went to a second overtime. They did it again, and this time they made the shot. That is not basketball. It's just not. Play. It's to say, when I'm kind of out of my old man basketball league phase, but when teams would do that, I would just start yelling, like, we're here to play basketball. Play.
This is not Dean Smith in the 4 corners.
No, like, give me a freaking break.
If anyone ever complains, Kentucky, they're kind of, it doesn't feel like they're producing the talent that we want. Well, maybe because this is obviously a small part of the reason, but yes, you're prioritizing a weird, unique game plan that cheats the system as opposed to developing your players into putting them in positions where they can score and play defense in an overtime setting like that. So it's just.
And here's the other thing, too. We know most of those guys ain't going to be playing college basketball. You're going to hit a lot more shots against the horn if you got a shot clock to work against, right? This big guy who they never let to get shoot threes, you bet your sweet ass I would have got some threes off at the end of shot clocks if we had one of those back in the day. So sign me up, man. Sign me up. Yeah, I'm glad.
Long overdue. Really was. And it was going to happen within 3 years anyway. So you gotta do it now. You just can't keep getting left behind on just small, minor things like that.
Do we know enough Kentucky high school hoops stuff to know which team it will hurt the most?
I mean, it'll hurt just the schools that are just not very good, that don't continually produce teams. Like, because I can understand the argument that it'll force teams into taking bad shots, but those teams are already bad anyways. Like, it's just, like I said, an extra 10, 15 seconds on the shot clock or making the shot clock in. Like, you want a bad team soaking up 2 minutes of a possession instead of 35 where you can just continue to go back and forth. Like, the games are still going to look the same in terms of bad teams taking bad shots.
This is just a great Facebook story for people who resist change because it's going to have minimal impacts on the actual game.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing is we'll look back in 5 years and everyone will just accept the shot clock as
it'll be
it is.
normal. Yeah.
It'll be like a trivia
Because it is.
item, like what year did Kentucky implement shot clocks in high school basketball? Well, we're excited for the shot clocks. We're also excited for the bye week. Remy's certainly excited. He is on a roll today.
Yeah, they got a squirrel party going on outside, or
I think it's the postman. He's got this like beef with the UPS driver and the mailman, and it's
classic.
You can hear what it's like.
Same.
So it's the bye week. Nick, is there anything we need to know? Is Mark Stoops really changing his approach to bye weeks, or is it just nah?
I mean, he is, but like, will it matter?
Right. I hope
I don't
so.
know. Yeah, it'd be nice, but that 10-minute talk he had yesterday was about gosh, I could have put a shoe up there and it would have been more entertaining. Like, Mark, give us something.
Hey, we need a fight. Yeah,
he's a pro with the coach speak.
I know, man. It was just like, like we're trying to still write about your team during the bye week, but they're laying low. Whatever.
No.
What are we going to do with our bye weekends? I'll start because I don't think I have any plans and I don't know what to do about that. Usually my weekends are like very structured with football game, work, football game, do this, do that. I don't really have anything on the horizon. So do you all have any fun plans this weekend?
Watch college football.
Yeah.
What's the one game you're going to watch more than any other, or most excited to watch rather? Ole Miss, Tulane.
Oklahoma, Auburn. That's the one. Like, I've got a lot of confidence in Oklahoma winning that game. I like John Mateer now. He's convinced me the first few weeks. So, if you watch the Pigskin preview, I'm riding with them. But yeah, it's also going to be one of those two that I'm going to want to have like all of the games on at once. But my wife's family's coming in. They haven't made their way down to Louisville in a hot minute. So I don't know how much college football I'm going to be watching. So
they're
it's
Ohio State
sneaking
fans,
away.
right?
Yeah. But even then, it's just like kids doing activities and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, we'll get a little
pumpkin
website
patch in the 90-degree weather.
Well, so they're going in the morning to pick apples while I do some blogging, and then who knows what after that. But yeah, so that's what we've got on the dock. There's also going to be like probably some yard work on Sunday that I don't like. A lot of the stuff I don't want to do that I just need to do.
You've been putting off for sure.
Yeah.
Zach, you're the youngin' of the group. What exciting, fun things are on your agenda?
I'm going to do the same thing Nick's doing, just without all the family members coming in. So I'm going to enjoy the opportunity to just do nothing. So, I don't work the Saturdays anyways, like Nick and Adam do. So it'll be just kind of be business as usual for me. I know the volleyball team, like I said, they play another game on Saturday against Washington, so I'll probably tap into that. But yeah, it'll be no headlines for Zach or for Mark Stoops this bye week.
Fingers crossed. Maybe we could all play a toy that's going to go into the Toy Hall of Fame. That's our next topic. So the shout out to our friend Richard Bramblett, who always brings up the nominees for the Toy Hall of Fame, which is a thing that some of us learned today. Let me see. I haven't counted them up. It looks like 12 nominees for this year's class of the Toy Hall of Fame. Steven, I don't know if you got that picture. You could pull it up. I'll just go through them real quick. Battleship, Catan. Is there Catan?
Oh, God. The worst game ever.
Yeah. Connect 4, Cornhole, Furby, Scooter, which like just a scooter, Slime, Snow, which I had to clarify, it just means snow. It doesn't mean like some weird board game or whatever.
So that's actually what it is. I looked it up. I thought it was like someone was just selling small fake balls of snow, and that was.
I think it just means it just means snow. Like,
well, that's a cop out. They shouldn't go.
I know. Like, yeah, I agree. Spirograph, the Star Wars lightsaber, Tickle Me Elmo, and Trivial Pursuit. So these are all up for the Toy Hall of Fame this year. It looks like this is Battleship's 4th year being nominated. So really, Battleship is due here. We got a bunch of first-year nominees. This is just the first year that Snow's been nominated, which is wild. It's been around forever. Can't believe the lightsaber's not in.
I have surprisingly strong opinions about this Toy Hall of Fame.
I'm excited. Let's hear it.
I'm not surprised at all, to be honest.
I mean, I'm very much like I have a Shannon the Dude take here. If it's the Toy Hall of Fame, is Catan a toy? Is Battleship a toy? Would anybody call a board game a toy? Absolutely not. Trivial Pursuit is not a toy. It is a game. Oh, you want to be in the Game Hall of Fame? Fine. Go down to the Game Museum, put you in the Game Hall of Fame. This is the Toy Hall of Fame. What are we doing here?
That was definitely not a toy then, right?
Not at all. It's precipitation. It's weather.
That's literally what it says. In the description, it says, "Is snow just precipitation?" Yes, is the answer to that question.
Okay.
I loathe some of these nominees. Although Scooter is one that I'm kind of like, it's not what in a traditional sense of a toy, but like I might have a little more leeway with that one.
Well, you say I'm going to go play on
scooter.
my scooter. I'm going to go play on my scooter.
Right.
So.
How you would play with your toy. And that was, you have some very memorable Christmases. I think, some person, it might be the N64. The Razor Scooter Christmas at the Roush house was a big one. That was a big one. So like, I feel like for that reason, like that was a huge fad there for a while. And like, they're still like my kids have those. And
scooters are making a comeback. I think because of like
scooter.
the electric scooters, like there are kids in our neighborhood who have ones that look like the electric ones. So they're coming back.
So I'm for Scooter. I'm for the Star Wars lightsaber because that is like it's the best version of the toy sword because you can go and like
it has sound effects like zoom.
Oh yeah,
make them yourself.
And then I mean,
you gotta talk about the spirograph.
Yeah, okay.
How is that a toy? That's just a toy.
It's a craft.
Cosplaying as learning.
It's a craft. Let's be
right.
honest.
Yeah, at best.
But I mean, if the Etch-a-Sketch made it in, I remember the Etch-a-Sketch making it in.
I could buy that more of a toy though, because like that you can actually kind of
you hold
like,
it in your own hand.
You can make your own stuff.
Like the spiral, you have to have a pencil and write on a piece of paper. Like,
yeah, who's that fun for?
I love that snow is part of this. And as Richmond, who is now piping up in the comments, says, sticks, sand, and cardboard box have also won. So
cardboard
snow
box.
Is completely.
This is an episode of SpongeBob. Maybe I don't. There's no world where a stick, like just a regular stick, you find on the ground.
Okay, at least in
because you can put a piece of string on a stick and maybe fish with it. Is that the reasoning there?
Well, I think the reasoning is if you have children, they like to play with those things. Like seriously, at Christmas
or
time,
dogs.
Sometimes the cardboard box gets more action than whatever was in the cardboard box. So like,
it does for the cats we have running around.
I was gonna say Remy loves a good cardboard box.
But like snow isn't even all the time.
Snow's ridiculous. I can't believe Battleship's in its 4th year. How was that not a first year inductee? Like, that's a 10-time All-Star.
But if you've been nominated for something for 4 years and you still haven't won, do you deserve to be nominated anymore? Like,
well, it's a Pete Rose situation. Battleship must have done something bad.
Battleship got a bad name.
Yeah, they got a bad rap, and
too many got some.
Pacifist running this vote here.
Yeah, all the voters, they were really bad at Battleship, and they've just got a grudge against it. Maybe.
If I'm looking at this group, Tickle Me Elmo's got to make it in over Furby because what is Furby doing on there?
So Furby's
scary.
That like my sister's got one year, and it was terrifying. We couldn't get it to shut up.
Well, the eyelids would like open and close because I think my sister had one as well. It was kind of in that same. I guess they were still kind of big back then whenever she got one, but the eyes would just like slowly close and open, and it was creepy looking.
They were talking in their closets while they were trying to sleep. It kept waking them up. I mean, it's some real horror movie stuff.
It's nightmare fuel.
Whew.
Man. Well, so Richmond says Battleship was first nominated in 2015. 10 years ago, and it's still not in. Like, maybe it's time to move on. Like, that's crazy.
I don't understand how you could pick snow over Battleship. Like, I mean, maybe if you're thinking from Nick's angle, like a board game situation, but then you've got Catan in there, which will probably get in. And Connect 4, I mean, is that even a toy, really?
Has anyone played Catan? Have you all played Catan? I've never played Catan.
I did when I was in like high school or college. That was a game we played a long time ago.
Yeah,
No
there's
thanks.
too much. It's just a long.
It's a long
haul.
game.
Yeah.
Long
Yeah.
game.
Well, of this group, if you had to vote for 3, which would you vote for? I'll go first. Tickle Me Elmo, because I was
Yep.
coming up during the prime Tickle Me Elmo days. I mean, that was the line at Toys R Us to get a Tickle Me Elmo was insane. I guess I'm going to do Connect 4 because that feels like a kind of an iconic game.
Mm-hmm.
And then Lightsaber, because if I didn't say that, my husband would kill me. He's a huge Star Wars fan. Plus, it's fun. It's like you get to make the sounds. Yeah. So, Zach, what are your 3?
Well, I struggle with this actually because I'm trying to go with my own guidelines that I've been setting while I've been ranting for the last 10 minutes. Me and Nick have had strong takes about this. So I think slime is definitely on there because I think that's just a simple, like, genius toy. Like, it's just disgusting, gross. You just get it dirty all the time.
It's
But you just play
basically 21st century Play-Doh.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
That's fair.
we've kept it out of our house so far, though. Thankfully.
So I like that one.
Wait
I do
until
like
it's a Hall of Famer. Then you're.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, make
Then
them
we're
come back then.
screwed.
You have to get the Hall of Fame edition. It'll be an extra $30 at the non-existent Toys R Us. Start the lightsaber, probably number 2. I like that's a true toy, I'd say. And then I don't know, like probably Connect 4, just because that's such an iconic thing, and I'm sure you like. That was a game that we'd play. I'll still. They have adult size Connect 4s where you go and you drink 6 beers and play Connect 4
Yeah.
with a giant plate essentially. So
Dylan
like,
Ballard had one at his tailgate last week.
there you go. So
Yeah.
like that's still like it span generations. So I'll go with slime, the lightsaber, and the Connect 4.
Which is you named a game out on games. So I'm similar
Yeah,
to
and
Tyler.
it was hard. It's hard.
The lightsaber, Elmo, and a scooter. I like a good little scooter. I like scooter blues too. Shout out Johnny Blue Skies.
Nice.
Is
nice.
snow
All right, well,
last?
So, yeah.
It should be last.
snow
Johnny
will
will
not
last.
last because it will melt.
It will- yeah,
So-
they'll have it at the Hall of Fame. It'll be in a jar and
Yes.
it's water.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like so. Of these toys, which one can you not use in the summer?
Fair point.
Like,
when
come on,
everybody
you got to be able
wants
to use the
play.
toy all year if you want to use it.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap up with the KS4 Q&A. We have 2 questions by my last count. We'll start with South End Josh. I don't know if you have them pulled up, Stephen. I didn't send them to you, but I can just read it. Oh, sweet. How do you like your chili? How cold does it need to be eat chili? To eat chili? That second part was mine because I think it's hilarious that we're talking about chili and it's 90 degrees outside. South End Josh's full question was, do you like your soup soupy or thick and hearty, noodles or no? What are your favorite toppings?
Noodles.
Some people like noodles in their chili. And he goes on to say, I make a mean pot of chili that's great on hot dogs as well as in a bowl. 4 pounds of meat, 4 different types of beans, liquid smoke, diced jalapenos, V8 juice, tomato sauce, minced garlic, chili powder, cumin, onion powder, Cajun seasoning. That's a lot. That makes my recipe look weak. But how do you guys like your chili? Do you have a specific recipe in mind, or are there certain toppings you cannot live without?
One thing that is a new addition to our house is cornbread with it, especially like a sweet cornbread, because
Chili Gillespie.
Yeah, because it adds a because I don't like a soupy consistency, so it adds like a unlike crackers where crackers don't always soak it up and they get like I really like the consistency of it. I'll sometimes put jalapenos in mine sometimes, but like I'm not it has to be one way or the other. Like noodles, I don't care one way or the other as long as they aren't too long to fit on my spoon. Just make it easy to eat. Like I'm not too terribly picky.
That's fair. Zach, what about you?
It's actually this is very timely because we just so happened to make a giant pot of chili the other day, so that's what we've been kind of snacking on the last few days. That'll be my dinner tonight.
Nice.
But it's awesome. So we've been putting in just some shredded cheese, sour cream, and some onions on top. Just mix that all together. That's what we've been going for. But I like the thick chili as well. And yes, the cornbread. We did that as well the other day. We're big on dipping the cornbread in there. So this is everything you all have talked about is exactly what I'm into. So
I think to your
the
point,
noodles,
though,
though, I don't know
Tyler,
if I've ever had that.
like I know it's big football food, but it's got to be a lot colder for me to
Yeah, like my husband won't even make chili until I think he has like a set temperature. It's like 45 degrees outside. It has to be like 45 degrees to enjoy chili. But I love chili. So I don't know if I could enjoy it on a 90-degree day like today.
Yeah.
But
get to 70, at least 70.
Yeah. Yeah, at least like where there's a nip in the air and you have to wear like long sleeves at the very least. I like chorizo in my chili. That's my secret ingredient. All right, our second question
just happened outside my house.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Oh man.
There's a corner of this right where I'm at. Yeah, this will be the 5th wreck that I've actually heard the physical crash come through. So I
feel like I hear sirens.
That's just a coincidence because I'm living downtown. Yeah. But yeah, there's definitely a car just hit another car there. But yeah, go on. It's not me.
Well, hopefully it wasn't a bike accident.
Oh, it's a fender bender. Yeah, it's happened.
Zack said, "Tell us about your favorite bicycle growing up. What happened to it? Did you wear a helmet?" Hopefully, yeah. You said it was a fender bender and not a bike accident where somebody wasn't wearing their helmet.
Yeah, that'd have been bad.
I didn't. I mean, I had a favorite bike growing up. It had tassels on the handlebars. I remember I fell off of it and broke my wrist. That was like my one injury, so to speak, growing up. So, I mean, I loved my bike. It was great. I don't know if I didn't have a name for it or anything like that. So, did you all have any fond bikes in your childhood?
Yeah, I feel like this is a very my parents' generation sort of like thought where they would really pimp them out. I just remember I don't want to say I got bullied for it, but everybody had the cool trick bikes, like the small, tiny ones. And my mom was like, "You're enormous. You're not getting one of those tiny bikes." So like, they'd be like, "Cool mountain bike, Roush." And you know what? It was pretty cool because we would go, we had like, those like giant, like utility towers that carry the power lines. Mm-hmm. Well, one of those ran around by our house. So there was trails along it. And so we rode the crap out of our bikes. It was a Schwinn mountain bike. It was that
wasn't just a Huffy. Zach, what about you?
Yeah, I had several bikes growing up. I definitely had like the trick bike as well. We did the thing where we'd put like a Pokemon card or a baseball card in the spikes.
Ooh,
and we kind of make that. We'd be like, "Oh, we're riding motorcycles." Obviously it just sounded. It was just a super annoying little ticking noise that would go by. But and I even told a story last Happy Hour where I jammed my bike handlebars into my rib and got hurt that way. But I do remember getting because biking was all we did, from middle school all the way until I could drive essentially. So, but I do remember when my dad was able to get me like my first real nice bike. I think the brand was called Giant, I think. But I didn't name it or anything, but I had that thing for several years. It actually got stolen when I went to college. I was a sophomore at UK over on off Red.
Not cool.
And someone came up, and there was 2 bikes there. My roommate's bike. We were both chained up. They decided to take mine and leave his. So I was almost like, "Come on, take his too. If we're gonna steal, let's really steal. Let's get into it." So haven't had a bike since then, unfortunately. But that was how we got around back then. So I don't know what the kids these days are doing. Their electric scooters and whatnot. But
kids riding e-bikes ticks me off. It's one thing if you're an older adult, but it's like, no, exercise. Like it's not. Yeah. What are we doing here? You don't need one of those.
My parents had a tandem bike, so with the 2 seats, and it was really funny to see them driving around and riding around on that. They were kind of like legends in town for when they would get the tandem bike out. It was very cute.
The original couch car.
Right, exactly. I wonder how couch cars doing. We need to do a couch car follow-up.
Yeah, I need to find them. You just need to run into them around campus here again.
Well, we're going to wrap it up because Nick's got to go get those kids to bed before the Kentucky-Louisville volleyball game. You got to go check on what happened in that fender bender outside, and I've got to make sure Remy didn't kill the UPS driver. So this has been a really fun episode of KSR Happy Hour. We'll probably get more on the rails next week because we'll have the South Carolina game to look forward to. But shout out to Pat Kelsey and Mark Pope for getting into a fight and making this really fun. I hope that story continues to linger and linger until both of them have to say something about it. I'm ready for it. So shout out to Country Boy. I know it's coming. I can't wait. Shout out to Country Boy, and we'll be here next week. Until then, cheers.